And we have a process in place to manage migrants at the border. We're working to make sure it's safe and orderly and humane.
The president dismissed the inflation report and the stock market sell-off on his way out of town yesterday, and then he said that test driving an electric car that costs more than double the average American's yearly salary made him feel optimistic. Do you have a response to critics who say that this administration's out of touch?
Wait, can you say that one more time? The president dismissed?
He dismissed the inflation report. He said he wasn't worried about it. We're talking about 0.1%. And then he said he wasn't concerned about the stock market sell-off because he said the stock market doesn't represent the broader economy. And then he went to Detroit and test drove a vehicle, an electric car that's just out of price range for the average American.
So I get your question now. So the question that the president was asked about the day before yesterday, which shows more progress, that data, the CPI data, which is what he was speaking to, shows more progress in bringing global inflation down in the U.S. economy. Overall, prices have been essentially flat in our country these last 2 months. That is welcome news for American families, but no doubt, we have more work to do.
A couple of Republicans wrote the White House today seeking information about the student debt plan. It's Representative James Comer and Virginia Fox. They're concerned that officials who worked on the plan themselves may benefit from it and are seeking documentation about how many White House aides would benefit from the student debt cancellation. Do you have any response to that? I appreciate you just got the letter today.
Yeah, I haven't seen the letter, so I certainly am not going to respond to something I haven't received, but I'll say
saying that they wonder something's amiss. People who have debt are working on the plan.
Let's be very clear here. There's always so much noise around the student loan debt relief. Let's be very clear. I'll leave it there.
Does the White House think that aides who worked on it were biased in any way if they themselves had student debt?
Again, I'm not going to respond to a letter I haven't seen.
Tone deaf. Stick to the script. The economy is great. The border is secure. Our cities are safe. Wouldn't it be
no one's
better,
pretending all of our
better to just be honest? Wouldn't it be better to just be honest with the American people about the soup that we're in right now, and we can all try to deal with it together instead of just.
Nobody's saying we don't have any problems, but if you don't pause and recognize the meaning of one of the most significant pieces of legislation so far in the 21st century, just because we also have a lot of other problems we're contending with as a country, then I think you're really feeding into a narrative that's pulling America down and holding America back.
Look forward to our day together. So thank you very much.
Thank you so
much. And thank
much.
you to the press.
What was your reaction to the losses of the riot yesterday?
Thank you.
The federal government has to step up. I was in Washington, D.C. last week talking to members of Customs and Border Patrol, National FEMA, ICE, and DHS. And we made it very clear, I made it very clear, that our expectation is that they were going to have a plan that features communication and collaboration with interior cities. And they must do that, and they must do that soon. I know that they are under enormous pressures. This is not a new challenge at the border, but this is a new challenge for us, and we need federal support, resources.
We're all, worrying about inflation, and we got some data points this week. We're a little bit shocking, and there's a lot of discussion about that ceremony on Tuesday. While you were listening and watching what was going on, was it clear to you at the time that that was a mistake, that popping champagne corks about conquering inflation on a day when the stock market at that very moment was down almost 1,300 points, over 1,200 points, after another really horrific inflation report? Did you say to yourself at that time, what are we doing? This looks really bad.
No.
Can you say at this point whether you think a global recession can be avoided and what your concerns are about the interest rate increases? I realize that.
Look, what we have said, what the president has said very clearly, is that the number one economic priority is tackling inflation. You think about just 2 days ago where the president held an event on the South Lawn with thousands of supporters, thousands of Americans on the South Lawn talking about or celebrating the Inflation Reduction Act. As you heard him say as well. Look, it is something as far as the interest rate, and you know, we're the Federal Reserve is independent. One of the areas that is a part of the president's plan is that they have their independency, and we leave that to them to make their decision on what fighting inflation is going to look like, what the monetary tools they're going to use to do just that. Again, they're independent, so we will not comment on that. But look, we also understand that high costs are really hurting families, which is why we have done the work that we have done these past several months, and we'll continue to make sure we find ways to lower costs for families.